Welcome back to Twitter Titty Twisters. It's me, yours truly, the guru of gazongas, Dalton Pruitt, and I'm taking a look today at the couple of earthbounds belonging to Miss Shannon Blake, who is taking the internet by storm once more. Everybody's favorite hip hop hippie shaman, Shannon Blake, with ironically what appears to be a couple of fake milkers or formulas, as I call them, some augmented namastitties. And because, these seem to be very firm and taut, static in their appearance, whereas naturals are usually much more loose and lax. And they, naturals got some hang and heft to them, and these are very just stuck in place. Big, not bulbous for sure, big, nice big tits, but they're, you can usually tell a pair of fakers by their elasticity and malleability, and how gravity impacts them. The way in this position, naturals would be much more pancaked and kind of hanging, but these appear to be bolted in place, remaining perky in defiance of gravity. Which can that can only be attained in a set of tits due to, through augmentation with silicone implants, which presents an interesting juxtaposition between Shannon's persona, that being the spiritually enlightened lady connected to the cosmos and Mother Gaia, who has removed herself from the material world to some degree, and yet she is it would seem had entwined her body with the material world by removing the muscle and adipose fat that compose titties and replacing it with silicone. And so what were once naturals born of this earth to return to this earth are now made of silicone, which is the argument could be made that silicone is itself a product of nature if it is has been created by men. Or are we not also nature, and are our creations therefore not extensions of nature? Something to think about. But there does seem to be, with given the fact that these are fake, big fake DM titties, this like a spiritual materialism presenting itself through these tits. And that begs the question, as I look upon Shannon's boobs, are the material and the spiritual mutually exclusive, or are they inextricable? For we exist in the material world. The that which surrounds us is the material, and yet we are tethered to the spiritual and are able to make connection with it through our own focus and meditations. And so as we explore and live within the material world, and then explore the spiritual world, can these two realms don't necessarily exist without the other from our perspective, which would suggest that one could still have big fake tits, and that does not necessarily mean they are a charlatan if they are to be spiritual, or have broken their tether with the spirit world, or are false in some way. Though the titties may be false, the spirit and the mentality and the ethos are not false. For we must interact with the material world at all times anyway. So what would be wrong? What's wrong with getting big fake tits if that's the case? Because this reminds me, I used to go to this Kundalini yoga class every Sunday, and I would go there, and I was the least enlightened. I couldn't do most of them moves, and there were ladies in there doing these yoga poses. They were great at it. It seemed like they seemed very enlightened, and a lot of them had giant fake knockers, some Hare Krishna knockers, and it always struck me as odd that these women, these very materialistic seeming women with huge, big, fake titties, were coming in here every Sunday, exhibiting discipline and focus and this desire to connect with their spiritual selves, would have giant fake tits. And so I think what we see with Shannon here and her big old patchouli pectorals is someone who, though they may have found this connection with the spirit world, still exist within the material world, and as such have material desires. And I suppose there's really nothing wrong with that. We life is to be there. We desire things in this life, and it's the Buddha. I think it was the Buddha that said, or some sects of Buddhism maybe, that desire is the root of all suffering. So really, but that being said, when I look at Shannon's big fake tits, I see that though she has given into her desire to have these big old fake slobber knockers, that means she's human. She desires, therefore she suffers for the betterment of the way she feels about her body, and for the betterment of all of us that get to look at these big old boobies. So 10 out of 10 wood motorboat.